Good morning, and thank you all for being here today. I'm Christian Menifee, the Harris County Attorney. I'm joined by the Commissioner for Harris County Precinct 2, Adrian Garcia, as well as several lawyers from my office, Mimi Hahn, Tiffany Reedy, Matt Miller, and Neil Sarker. We're here today because Harris County has filed a lawsuit against state officials over Senate Bill 1750, a law that abolishes the Elections Administration Office in only Harris County and in no other county in the state of Texas. That law is set to go into effect September 1, 2023, so we're filing this lawsuit to take action, and to take action early. For nearly 50 years, Texas law has allowed counties to designate an elections administrator to manage both voter registration and elections administration, and that position is nonpartisan. The official who runs that office and the folks who work in that office are not allowed to run for office. They can't contribute to campaigns, and they cannot publicly support or oppose candidates for public office. In that time period, since that law has been around, nearly half of counties in the state of Texas and 9 of the 10 largest counties in the state have decided to use an elections administrator system. Courts have consistently struck down laws here in the state of Texas that exempt only one locale from a law that applies more broadly. Senate Bill 1750 does one very important thing that we're here to talk about today. It abolishes the Elections Administrator Office in only Harris County and in no other county in this state. This will eliminate the job of our current Elections Administrator, Clifford Tatum, and it means that more than 150 county employees are going to have to undergo substantial changes, another major change in just a 3-year time period. Now, we're suing because this law violates the Texas Constitution. For nearly 100 years, Texas law has prohibited laws that apply to only one locale and can never again in the future apply to another locale. That's exactly what SB 1750 does, and here's how it does it. It abolishes the Elections Administrator Office in only those counties that have an elections administrator and have a population of more than 3.5 million, importantly, on September 1, 2023. It does not apply to counties that grow into that population in the future. Our legislator here in the state of Texas should be focused on passing laws that make life better for all of Texas, not targeting one county because its leaders look differently and think differently than the folks in Austin. So what's next? We'll be going to court in short order and asking the judge to temporarily block Senate Bill 1750 from going into effect on September 1, 2023. We'll be asking that the hearing on that issue take place sometime here in the next few weeks. In closing, yes, we are filing a lawsuit to undo Senate Bill 1750, the law that abolishes the EA's office in only Harris County. But this fight is much bigger than this one law. This is about protecting Harris County elections. In 2020, Harris County ran an election with unprecedented turnout that even the Secretary of State of Texas could not disparage. Despite that, state officials sued us. The governor issued an executive order that limited the number of mail ballot drop-off sites. State officials targeted us with a partisan election audit. And then state officials passed SB 1 to undo all of the work that we did in the 2020 election to expand voter access. After our 2022 election, more than 20 losing Republican candidates filed lawsuits to overturn the results of that election. This is a coordinated attack on elections here in Harris County and on our democracy. Today's lawsuit is about standing up to those forces. But this is also about protecting local officials and their ability to work for the people that we serve. When the then Speaker of the Texas House said he wanted the next legislative session to be the worst for cities and counties in the history of the state of Texas, he was speaking freely. Since then, we've seen the Death Star bill that preempts local ordinances. We've seen bills that make it easier to remove judges and district attorneys from office. We've seen state officials meddling in county budgeting. And we've seen Governor Abbott and other state officials conduct a full-on attack against the cities and the counties that make the state of Texas what it is. Today's lawsuit is about standing up to those forces. In closing, I'd like to speak to the 2.5 million registered voters that we have here in Harris County. As your lawyer for county government, I won't allow your votes to be thrown out. We won't allow officials you've elected to be stripped of their ability to work to make your life better. And we won't allow legislators in Austin to throw a wrench in our elections here in Harris County. We've got an election coming up this November for statewide constitutional amendments, for a countywide bond program, and for City of Houston elections, including the race of mayor of City of Houston. So to the voters, I say, don't let these politicians in Austin steer you away from voting. Don't allow them to make you fearful to cast your ballot. We fought too hard for this right to allow them to dismantle our democratic processes right in front of us. Make a plan for this November and go vote. So we're excited about today's lawsuit, and we believe that if state legislators in Austin have the ability under our Texas Constitution to target one county and to pass laws that are only ever applied to that county, then the people of Texas, the people of Harris County deserve to know. So we're going to let the court sort it out. Next, we're going to hear from our County Commissioner for Precinct 2, Adrian Garcia, and then after that, we will take questions. Commissioner?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. County Attorney, and to your office. I applaud the bright minds that you have here working on this particular lawsuit. First, let me begin by saying that it is unfortunate that this lawsuit has to be filed. But County Attorney Menifee has laid it out very well. This is an attack on one county in the state of Texas. It is Harris County, it is this county, it is the county that I live in, my family lives in, and all of the people that I represent live in. It impedes my ability to ensure that county government hears the concerns of citizens out in our community and is able to react. Democracy is a precious thing. We have to protect it. We have to fight for it. And to that end, let me just say that I applaud our county attorney for being willing to stand up for this fight. This is representative of a bully picking on this county, and we're just not going to have it. We are up for the fight. I applaud and support Mr. Menifee and his team for doing this. SB 1750 is a direct attack on those of you who want to participate in democracy and want to do it freely and want to do it as you deem necessary. And it's unfortunate that Governor Abbott would see it fit to make it harder for people to vote. After the history that this country has seen, whether it has been not giving women the right to vote, or whether it was the poll tax, or whether it was slavery, or whether it was all the other types of voter suppression initiatives that have been attempted over the years. This is an effort to create a new type of poll tax and voter suppression on the citizens of Harris County in 2023, and that is unconscionable. To that end, I want to ask the citizens of Harris County to join us regardless of what side of the aisle you may sit in. This is an effort and a fight to protect your democracy regardless of whether you would vote for me or not. And so I would ask you to please join us in making sure that Governor Abbott hears you, that this lawsuit is important for your voice to be heard, for your vote to be counted, and you can do that by calling 512-463-1782, 512-463-1782. Call the governor, call your other state officials, but call the governor and let him know that this bill is anti-democracy, it is anti-good government, it is anti-voter, and we don't need it. So, Mr. Menifee, again, thank you for your strength, your courage, and your willingness to stand up for the citizens, for all citizens of Harris County.
Thank you, Commissioner, and we'll take questions now.
Why do you think specifically, why Harris County specifically was targeted for this bill?
I think Senator Betancourt had a personal vendetta against the county. What our lawsuit makes very clear is back in 2020, when our county created its elections administrator office, Senator Betancourt called for the office to be abolished in 2020. And since then, it's been an ongoing personal vendetta to get a law like this passed that would make a decision for Harris County that Harris County itself would not make through its commissioner's court. This is the exact type of law that our Constitution bans from being passed in the state of Texas, and that's exactly why we sued.
Have you guys filed other suits regarding the other elections laws, and if so, how many separate suits have you filed regarding election laws?
In this session, this is the first bill that we filed a lawsuit on, and the reason for that is because the other bills that have been passed in this session, they're going to be greatly impacted by who runs our elections in Harris County. So this is what I believe is a threshold matter that we need to get sorted out in the courts right now. And as soon as we're done with this lawsuit, we can evaluate the other laws that need to be challenged, including Senate Bill 1933, which would provide for increased oversight and the ability to attempt to remove from office only two elected officials in the state of Texas, the Harris County Clerk and the Harris County Tax Assessor-Collector.
And excuse me if you already addressed this, I was late for the traffic. What's the current timeline look like right now for this current lawsuit and the current bill?
In the next week, we'll reach out to the court and get a hearing date because we're going to be asking the court to temporarily block Senate Bill 1750 from taking effect. I suspect we'll be able to get a hearing in the next month, and at that hearing, that issue should be decided. So we'll come out of that hearing knowing if a court in Travis County believes that this law should be blocked because it's unconstitutional or it doesn't. If a court agrees with us, then it'll go up the appellate chain, and we'll be engaged in long-term litigation to figure out who is ultimately right, and I suspect this is going to end up before the Texas Supreme Court.
If it's not blocked, what does that look like for the current duties of the administrator?
If the law is not blocked, we're going to have some tough decisions to make here in Harris County. What we don't want is a situation where no court has agreed with us and we have an election to run in November 2023. Importantly, Representative Ron Reynolds presented an amendment on the House floor that would have allowed this law to be delayed, its effective date, until after the November election. But instead, the Republicans in the House voted against that because they wanted to put us in this exact bind that we find ourselves in. So that's why we're rushing to the courthouse to get action from a judge.
So until then, everything's going to continue as is?
The plan is to continue as is. If we go before a court and they tell us that they agree with the state of Texas, then we'll act accordingly. But we're also on parallel track, making sure that we're best positioned to turn the duties over should that happen.
Obviously, it's very state by state, but have you looked at other states or other counties or cities throughout the country where this is something similar has happened, or comparing yourselves to other larger counties as to the reason why there should be an administrator's office? Is that something you've ever looked at?
So having a nonpartisan elections administrator office is something that's widely supported on both sides of the aisle. Famously, the former county judge of Harris County, who was a Republican, supported an elections administrative system. And the argument has always been, look, you want to take it out of the hand of partisan elected officials and put it in the hands of a bureaucrat who's nonpartisan, who doesn't run for office in a professionalized way. I think what we've seen here with the targeting of Harris County, we have researched this issue for hours and hours and hours, and we have not found a single case where the courts allowed the legislator to pass a law that could only ever apply to one locale, right? And so I would say that in that way, this is unprecedented, and I think it just speaks to the escalation of far-right legislators who are looking to make decisions for local officials who were elected by the same people that those folks were elected by. Yeah. And I think Commissioner Garcia wants to follow up on that.
Yeah, I just wanted to make some remarks in Spanish. Estamos aquí para apoyar el procurador del condado, Christian Menefee, en su demanda en contra del estado de Texas, según la ley SB 1750. Esa ley es la ley que está desbaratando la oficina de elecciones, la cual es sin partido, es una oficina administrativa para manejar las elecciones y ahora el gobernador, junto con los republicanos de la legislatura, han llegado a poner esta ley en efecto, y la cual ahorita estamos peleando para prevenir que esa ley se llegue a poner en acción hasta que se puede hacer se puede alegar las razones por cual esa ley no es justa. Esa ley, como el procurador Menefee ha indicado, Es una ley que solo puede aplicar al condado de Harris esta vez y para el futuro. Ningún otro condado está afectado a través de esta ley. Entonces, esto es un ataque directamente al condado de Harris y eso es injusto. Entonces, queremos proteger la democracia de los residentes del condado de Harris y de eso se llega a ver la razón por esta demanda. Gracias.
Do we have any additional questions? All right, thank you all very much.
All right. Good job, man. Wow, that's how you going into trial mode, man.
When I start getting those questions, I feel like I'm getting cross-examined, man. Okay, thank you.
No, it's good. It's good.